And good morning. This morning we are talking about.
We're talking about just all things about this week. That's what we're going to talk about. It's Friday Frenzy. This is the time when we just talk about stuff that's happened throughout the week. Mark usually talks about how amazing it is to work alongside his wife.
Yeah.
Where are you this morning, Mark?
I'm just in Bronte.
In Bronte. Show
I
us
just had a swim.
around. That's a beautiful suburb, Bronte. It's a very affluent suburb in the eastern suburbs. It's quite a large dog.
It is. So we've got Bronte's just there. Right.
What is
there.
it, Mark? Sorry, you're breaking up a little.
Bronte's just there.
Bronte's just there. Bronte Beach is just there.
Yep.
Nice.
And we're at Huxton. Huxton's having a bit of breakfast with the boys.
Oh, beautiful.
A lot of people have dogs these days.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Like it is nuts. It is
like
I've never.
And barking ones as well.
And they don't mind them in a. Oh, that's Damo's got his 4 drive.
Mark's very distracted this morning. Mark, stay with us.
Yeah, I'm gonna walk
all right, guys. Let's talk this morning about what's going on in. Let's talk this morning about what's going on in the real estate market. I tell you what, it's been a very, very busy week for us with listings. That's for sure. We're seeing a little bit more stock hitting the market now. Where's Mark off to? Mark's very distracted this morning. Where are we going? I think we're heading over to Damien's car, guys. Damien is one of our best friends. Let's see what Damien's got to say. It's jumping out of his 4-wheel drive. You look like Maverick, Damo.
Damo looks skinny. You look skinny.
Hi, how are you?
You look sweet.
Are we live?
Yeah, we're live.
Hi,
hey, Damo, you look like Maverick jumping out of that 4-wheel drive.
Yeah, much older Maverick. But yeah,
Damo, tell the world what it's like to be friends with the Novaks. We've been friends for how many years?
Long time. We're going on about 15, 16 years.
I think it's more than that, Damo.
If you like, if you like wonderful motivation and, a new way to live, where sky's the limits, then I think it's a wonderful association. And it's also based on generosity.
Shit, we didn't tell you this. Oh,
you're the best. We have been friends for a very, very long time. And these boys, so there's Damien, who's to the left of Mark. There's Mark, and then there's another culprit, Ed, have been doing breakfast for, 15 years, I reckon. Mostly on Friday mornings. But Damien keeps letting the team down, I hear.
Well, we were meant to meet at 7, so I don't know what you're talking about, Lex.
Are you on Eastern Suburbs time?
He turns up 50 minutes later in this thing.
What is that? Show us around, guys. What is that car?
Oh, that's a vintage 1980 model FJ40 Land Cruiser. Not for the faint-hearted.
Oh my God, Emily, your wife must love that.
Yeah, if you went to trouble, you could. Wow. But yeah, that's my story, Lisa.
Wow. Emily must love that, Damien, does she? Emily is Damien's wife. Does she love it?
Emily loves the noise. It reminds her of me.
Especially when you park it out the front of the house. I bet she loves that. Bye, Damo.
It's not a noisy car. It's not.
Damo's running away.
I'll see you in there, Damos.
Okay, see you guys.
See you, Damo. Mark, stick with us. Give us 5 minutes, Mark. We've lost him. Give us 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Let's talk about the real estate market, and then we're going to let you go. Mark's very distracted this morning. He's like a child with a new toy.
It is the week in summary is deals are getting done much more freely than they have been in the last 2 months, because buyers are out there paying more for properties than what they have been in the last couple of months. So I wouldn't say there's market increases there, but I reckon you calling the market back in November saying that was the bottom of the market was bang on.
Yeah.
The bottom of the market was then.
I agree. So the data is coming out now, guys. Understand data's slow. The data, what was happening last week in the real estate market doesn't show up in the data yet. It lags behind a little bit. But we are seeing now from November that the market has come up by a couple of percent, certainly here in Sydney. Sydney is a market that actually got hit a lot harder than a lot of other markets, but it's definitely rebounding a lot faster as well. Would you agree, Mark?
Yeah, definitely. I think it was interesting. I was with someone yesterday from Newcastle. Newcastle had 7% capital growth for the last 12 months. So it's gone up by 7%, i.e. $1 million, 70 grand. Whereas DY is negative 20%, and i.e. $1 million is down 200 grand. So I was really surprised that, that's almost a 27%, 30% difference between those two markets. So I think people are still cashing out of Sydney and going up north, but I think their days are numbered for regional Australia. Don't mean to be negative on regional.
Yeah, so I spoke with an agent, Mark, in the Blue Mountains at the beginning of the week. Now, this was an area during COVID where you literally could not get your hands on stock. These guys would list it and it would fly out the door, and most of it wasn't even coming to the real estate portals, but it was flying out the door. Now, the agent I spoke to the other day said we have no buyers and we have an overabundance of stock that is sitting around on the market for a really, really long time. And again, that market seems to be lagging behind us by about 3 to 6 months. So my advice to her was just list up and hold on tight, because you will see more buyers coming back into the market again. And interestingly, look, and again, guys, we have had a very, very busy listing week. For me personally, I've listed everything from little one-bedroom apartments all the way up to luxury houses all over the Northern Beaches. So there is definitely a little bit more stock coming on. But Mark, we were fortunate at the beginning of the week to interview CommBank's chief economist, Stephen Halmerick.
One-on-one.
One-on-one. And also the director of CoreLogic RP Data as well.
One-on-one.
One-on-one. Those interviews, guys, are on our social media channels. What did you take away from that, Mark?
Calm. I felt that talking to the chief economist for the biggest bank in Australia and talking to the data god, the property data god from the biggest data company, the statistical company. He loved it, from CoreLogic. So they supply all the stats for banks, all the stats for real estate agents, for property. Talking to those two guys gave me a lot of calm, and I didn't realise I was a little bit reckless, not understanding it. And yeah, their opinion was basically the rates are coming down at the end of the year. They may go up twice next month and this month, but it'll level out for 6 months and then they'll start heading downwards again. So I was pretty surprised about that.
Yeah. And look, we had an opportunity to sit with them for 10 minutes and ask lots of questions. But we chose to keep the questions as simple as possible, because they're the questions that we are getting asked consistently. And that is, how many more rate rises? And the chief economist, Stephen Halmerick, from CommBank, is suggesting 2, and he did mention that multiple times, 0.25% interest rate increases over the coming months. And then he also suggested that those rates, as you said, Mark, are going to be coming off toward the end of the year. And then we talked about that big R word, recession.
Yeah. I noticed the way he danced around that, and I thought it was really, really clever.
Yeah, but he said that the signals are not there for a recession. They're just not there. So they definitely do not believe that. And these guys don't have a crystal ball, but they're tracking data pretty carefully. They don't believe that there's going to be a one.
He did water it down as well, because he was saying that I think it's negative growth for 2 quarters, but he said he doesn't really see that, because if you have like a -1% and a -0.1% is like it's at or two -0.1%. They officially call that a recession.
Exactly.
So he said,
Yeah.
it's not really right. It's not enough as a metric, but the way he worded it, I think it may happen.
Yeah. But yeah, really interesting, guys. As I said, if you want to see the interview, it is there on our social media channels. What an absolute honor and privilege to be asked to spend 10 minutes with these guys and ask them questions. And as I said, we really wanted to water them down for you guys because they are the questions that we're getting asked all the time. The other big one was what's going to happen when people come off their fixed rate loans. What's going to happen then? Are we going to start to see, this frantic selling when people do come off those fixed rate loans? And, we haven't seen it, Mark. We just haven't seen it yet, have we?
You know what I thought was really incredible with what he said, and this is such common sense. The amount of people that are defaulted loans at the moment, and this is the chief economist of the amount of people that have defaulted loans at the moment are not much at all. Like nothing, like minimal people defaulting on loans. Now here's the catch. He said the guys that have endured the last 300 basis points of rates going up technically would have found it harder and should have defaulted. The people that are coming off fixed rates have been saving money. So if it hasn't been bad for the last year or two, with the current people on variable, it shouldn't be bad with defaults with the people coming off.
I agree. Yeah.
I thought that was really smart. I thought about it, I was like, yeah, of course. I never thought of that.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
Everyone's talking about the mortgage cliff, but everyone's been walking up a mountain for a year anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Tim from CoreLogic RP Data was suggesting exactly what we've been saying, that the property market is likely going to follow suit of what the interest rates do. So once those interest rates start to stabilise and start to come off, that should be when that market's going to pick up. That's certainly, again, their predictions, which is exactly what we've been saying as well. But stock levels have been interesting, Mark, because we've been seeing, as I said, quite a bit more stock hitting the market. It's for all different reasons, guys. We're not seeing stock hitting. I have not had a single person, and I think I've listed, in the last few days, I think I've listed about 7 properties. It's been really busy. I launched about 5 of those yesterday to realestate.com. But not one single one of those vendors said we have to sell urgently, we can't afford our repayments. Not one. They're all selling for a variety of different reasons.
Well, the head of CBA and CoreLogic is, they're talking about the defaults of the loans at the moment, and they're just minimal. So
yeah,
it's consistent with what you're saying.
Yeah. What are you having for brekkie this morning, Mark?
Bacon egg roll. I ordered it before I left, so it's going to be really cold.
It's going to be cold. All right, we're going to let you go. We got any comments or any questions this morning? We've got a quiet little audience out there.
Everyone's quiet. Everyone's
quiet. Mark wants to go eat his bacon and egg roll. All right, guys, that's it for us. Have a great week. If you haven't booked into our first time buyer summit, you definitely need to do that. It's almost sold out. We've had an enormous response to it. So we do have those details online, but definitely book into that. It's going to be awesome. We've got some really, really good speakers there. You've got Mark and myself, young Billy, who's a first time buyer himself. We've got Zach, our mortgage broker. But yes, please do book in. I think we've literally only got a couple of seats left at that. So definitely book into it.
Okay.
Enjoy brekkie. See ya. Bye, guys.